Good morning, everybody. It is 9 o'clock straight up on a Wednesday morning on this live Impact News edition for you here on WCNC Plus. Let's start out with some South Carolina news, because if you follow it at all, these Buddhist monks walking for peace, they are making their way through South Carolina right now. And our Destiny Richards in Rock Hill following their progress this morning. How's it going, Destiny?
It's going good. We observed the Buddhist monks, a part of Walk for Peace. They left Catawba Baptist Church, where we are right now, and they're headed to Fort Mill, and then eventually they will be in Charlotte by this evening. It was very beautiful to see people coming together to observe and support and wish them well on their way. And we know right now that they're going to head to Fort Mill and then Pineville this afternoon, and then this evening they'll be in Charlotte. But this is a little bit of what we captured this morning. People here as early as 5 a.m., possibly earlier than that, to observe and watch these monks and to greet them as they left Catawba Baptist Church. They stayed here overnight to rest. People greeted them yesterday, and then they were leaving about 7 o'clock this morning on their way to, of course, Charlotte later today. But this is something that's been captivating people for months now. The monks began their walk nearly 3 months ago in Fort Worth, Texas, and they're headed to Washington, D.C. by early February. We know the walk is rooted in Buddhist tradition, using movement and mindfulness to promote peace, healing, and reflection. But this truly has brought together large crowds of people from all ages, faiths, and backgrounds, and we have surely witnessed that here in South Carolina. We spoke with one man who came here all the way from Michigan. He plans to walk with them today. Here's what he had to say.
This was just an opportunity to join and honor their mission, which I think is humanity's mission. It's a difficult time, in the world, and this is one thing that we can do energetically, put our actions into. It can hopefully make a little difference.
Yeah, and we heard similar sentiments from people that we spoke with this morning and even yesterday here in Rock Hill. And that journey continues today. They've crossed 6 states so far. When they enter North Carolina, it will be their 7th state on day 81 of this trek. And here's the rundown of what we know today. So they left Catawba Baptist Church on Anderson Road behind us here. They went on to Cherry Road, and they're traveling US 21 north to Fort Mill. That's where they'll be at Ann Springs Close Greenway. They're expected to be there for a late morning lunch. Visitation hours for people who want to greet them and see them are from 10:30 this morning to 1 p.m. And then they're expected to go through Pineville between 2 and 4 p.m. And then they're to be in Charlotte this evening, specifically at the Marion Deal Recreation Center. So that's where people can see them again from 6 to 9 tonight. But this is a long trip. I personally am from just outside of Fort Worth, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you imagine walking all that way, driving is already a lot. But it's just amazing to witness this. They stopped briefly for a prayer, and you could see people, praying with them as well. People had flowers, people had signs. So it wasn't just, observing, people who are making a long trip, but it really was people coming together to support something that, again, that man from Michigan said, peace, something that is humanity's mission. And of course, we'll continue to track their journey to Charlotte. You can also follow along. They have a live map where people can see their route and their rest stops. That's all on the WCNC mobile app. But I'll send it back to you, Jane.
Oh, Destiny, I agree with you. I mean, just to promote the peace, and that is a very long trek. I was just trying to look at some of the shoes that they're wearing, putting up hundreds and if not thousands of miles. Some are wearing sneakers, but it looked like some are wearing Crocs. I don't know. Are they wearing comfortable shoes?
We did. Yeah, I saw one man who was wearing Nikes. So, they're trying to do their best to be comfortable so they can make this trip.
Okay, very good. Well, and it's great to see people showing up for them in support of their walk for peace. We wish them well, and we'll continue to follow their journey through the Carolinas. Thanks for that live report, Destiny. All right, so we do need to know if they're going to be comfortable in this weather, right? Because it's cold outside. Majestic storm here in the Live Impact studio now. And I feel like they're not bundled up enough, but they tolerate so much, Majestic. How are they going to do?
Well, I think the clouds are helping this morning when it comes to keeping the temperatures a little bit warmer compared to where we were yesterday. Yesterday we started out into the upper 20s, low 30s. This morning we're waking up into the 40s, so at least the clouds will help. However, we could have a little rain and some gusty winds today. I think winds will be the biggest player for them. Let's get into our forecast because we are looking at some big midweek changes really all across the Carolinas. Again, a cold front is on the way, and I think it's really going to pull in some strong gusty winds that'll be noticeable for just about everyone. Anywhere from about 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gust at times, and then back behind that, much cooler temperatures. We are going to feel that a lot by tomorrow. Let's take a look at what's going on when we're seeing our satellite and radar. So you can see those heavy bands of rain staying to the south of us, but we do have scattered showers across the area. Mainly cloudy, gusty winds, and here's the deal. Once we're switching it over to our Doppler radar, it looks like a lot of us are actually receiving rain right now, but you're probably looking outside your window or you've been outside and it's not raining for most of us. Maybe a little mist or drizzle or even just a few sprinkles, but we're working with a lot of dry air in and around Charlotte, so the rain will fall, it hits that dry air, and then it evaporates. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to stay dry all throughout the day, but our overall rain chances, they do stay pretty low. Here's a live camera look. This is what it looks like if you haven't really woken up yet. Outside, plan for cloudy conditions. So yesterday was the beautiful day. Temperatures were mild. We had all of that sunshine. Today, our daytime highs will still be actually pretty nice, but it's going to be overall a much cloudier day as that front pushes through. Here's a look at the day ahead. Again, not saying we're absolutely dry, but also definitely not saying we'll have a lot of impactful rain today. Again, watch for that mainly for the first half of the day and then possibly a little bit of sunshine late in the afternoon. Here's the day ahead, but when we're talking about the winds, I think whether or not we get the rain, it is what it is because that's not going to be the biggest impacts with this front. Really, the biggest impact will be the wind. Now, this will be over the next 12 hours. Again, some of those winds will be gusting 20 to 30 miles an hour, so if you spend time outside today, you're going to notice that wind, and especially especially up towards the high country. Let's walk you through our futurecast, still talking about the winds. Now, it's overall going to be a warmer day. Temperatures will still be into the mid to upper 50s. I mean, no, it's not quite as warm, even close to as warm as what we had last week, but still above our average high. And it's because those winds are moving in from the southwest, pulling in that warmer air for us. Now, yes, breezy winds today, but then they start to shift, starting to move in from the northwest tonight and into Thursday. Now, those winds will start to crank up, and if you're watching from one of our mountain counties, the high country, you will have the strongest winds. Some of those winds even capable of gusting up to around 40 miles an hour. And let me tell you, tomorrow morning, heading outside, this one is going to hurt because you have that cold air in place, and then the wind is the last thing that you really want when you already have such cold temperatures. So still, look at Ashe, Watauga, Avery counties. You will be our center focus tomorrow because it could feel like we're below zero for many of you. 7 below, this is 7 a.m. Thursday morning, 4 below up in Jefferson. Now, in and around the greater Charlotte metro area, still going to be feeling freezing. I mean, into the mid to upper teens as you're heading out tomorrow morning. So everyone, bottom line, we're focusing on that big drop in temperatures and those gusty winds, especially if you work outside. I know that is brutal. You're going to want to grab that winter gear. And of course, as those kids are heading off to the school bus stop tomorrow overall is just going to be a much colder day. And again, that wind just does not help anything. Once we're heading into the next few mornings, look at this. We're going to be saying temperatures, our actual air temperatures, into the teens for our Friday morning. So that is going to be a very cold early morning start to our weekend. 19 degrees Friday morning. That is chilly. And then this upcoming weekend, our lows will increase Saturday, and then they start to drop back down into the 20s. So we've talked about the wind. We've talked about the cold temperatures, how cold it's going to feel. Now let's talk a little bit more about the moisture along with this front. So here's about mid-morning. Remember, not all of this rain is going to touch the ground. I think if it was me, I would just plan for a cloudy, mild day, small rain chances here and there, but mainly you'll notice the wind. Once we're heading into that 1 o'clock hour, could see a couple raindrops in and around Charlotte, and then 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Maybe you're picking up those kids after school, or maybe they have any after school sports activities. This is when things actually give us a bit of a break. We're looking at pockets of sunshine, not a ton, but we'll take any sunshine we can get, because once we progress later on in the night, those clouds take over again. Then our focus is up in the mountains. So if you're hoping for some mountain snow, I've heard from many of you saying you're ready for it. You're a skier or snowboarder, and you're ready for that fresh powder. This is going to be our next best chance. So 5 o'clock tonight, we'll start to see more moisture up in the mountains. This will continue. Here's 8 o'clock tonight. Really, the focus is up in the mountains, not across the Charlotte metro area at all. And it's going to be basically done by the time we're heading out Thursday morning. However, I think tomorrow morning we could see some impacts out across those roads for the mountains. So you're going to want to be mindful of that if you have some place to be early in the day tomorrow. Say you're in Boone or Blowing Rock, even Jefferson. This is about how much snow we're forecasting here. Some areas, few inches of snow will be possible to accumulate, and then up in the higher country you can see less than 1 inch of snow. The bulk of the system seems like it stays to the west of us, but again, we'll take any snowfall that we can get, and it seems like tomorrow will give us a pretty good opportunity, again, just for the mountains. Here's our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. Again, cloudy skies today. Our average high, it's 52. Today we're forecasting 54, so still a little bit above that. Again, small rain chances here and there. Could have a little mist or drizzle at times, but again, those winds will be the biggest thing that you'll notice if you're going to be out and about. Tomorrow morning, around 30 out the door, clear skies, sunshine. Thursday will be gorgeous, but high temperatures not even reaching 40 degrees, and it's going to be windy, so it's going to feel even colder than that. And then remember, 19 degrees Friday morning. That is going to be frigid cold, very cold. I mean, if you have any outdoor pets, I kind of get sad when I think about how cold it gets, and then when you see an animal outside, I'm like, that just hurts my heart. So make sure you're planning accordingly for them, because if it's cold for us, it's cold for them too. This weekend, not too bad. 53 on Saturday. I think I'm going to get out and about then, and then a little bit of a dip in those temperatures as we're wrapping up the weekend and heading into next week. So a lot going on. Definitely. I think today just the biggest focus will be the wind, the clouds,
it is
and then
cloudy.
crossing our fingers for some mountain snow.
All
You're a
right.
snow gal, though.
Yeah.
Do you miss it?
definitely.
Yeah.
I miss the snow so much. But I think people who live up in the mountains, like, they want snow.
Of course.
You know, they're like, where's the
That's
snow?
why they're there.
Yeah.
All right, get ready for it. They'll get their fill for this week.
Yes.
All right, thank you,
Thank you, guys.
Majestic. Awesome. And we will be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Right now at 9:15 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, we're following some national news as this morning the Clintons are facing possible contempt charges for denying the subpoenas or defying congressional subpoenas. Alice Barr from NBC News in Washington will get you caught up here.
Contempt of Congress charges now looming for former President Bill Clinton, with the House Oversight Committee saying they'll take that rare step after the former president failed to appear for a deposition in the investigation into late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
He did not show up today.
Former President Clinton, who appears in a series of photos and records related to Epstein, has long denied wrongdoing or knowledge of Epstein's crimes.
No one's accusing Bill Clinton of any wrongdoing. We just have questions, and that's why the Democrats voted along with Republicans to subpoena Bill Clinton.
Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is scheduled to appear today, but in a letter to the House Oversight Chair, both Clintons declined, saying they had nothing to add, calling the subpoenas legally invalid, and writing, quote, "Every person has to decide when they have seen or had enough and are ready to fight for this country, its principles, and its people, no matter the consequences. For us, now is that time." Some Democrats arguing the Clintons should be allowed to answer in writing, as others have, and pressing the Justice Department to finish releasing the full Epstein files.
And then we'll be able to determine all that we need to know.
Though Democrat Ro Khanna, who helped lead the charge to force the files release, said former President Clinton should appear.
Everyone involved should be providing an explanation, and I have conducted this in a way that doesn't single out Republicans or Democrats.
Conflicting views in a high-profile push for answers. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And at 9:17, happening right now in Washington, D.C. is a meeting, a hearing that started earlier this morning. We're going to go ahead and dip into this right now. It's a House Foreign Affairs Dems meeting. They are meeting on matters surrounding Venezuela. Let's go ahead and listen in on Live Impact News.
So, Ambassador Shannon, given the breadth of your experience, what message do you think China and Russia are receiving from the president's actions, specifically the operation in Venezuela, and how does that impact their decisions towards both Taiwan and Ukraine?
Thank you very much. It's a great question. It's an important one. At the very even before President Trump took office, when he spoke of foreign policy, he spoke of it largely in terms of Canada, Greenland, and Panama. And he did so because he was attempting to re-articulate American purpose in the world and our security interests, which for him are our near neighborhood in our region. And we have seen this reiterated in the aftermath of the Venezuela raid and also the actions taken in the Caribbean and the Eastern Pacific against drug trafficking cartels. He's intent on showing that the U.S. military is going to be used in our near neighborhood to attack enemies that he believes have an immediate impact on the well-being of American communities. And as he does so, he has also approached both Russia and China as adversaries who have regional interests and ambitions that he believes need to be understood and respected. And in this regard, he is reshaping American foreign policy into one of spheres of interest and influence, as opposed to a global engagement by the United States in building political and economic processes that are designed to promote democracy and generate wealth and distribute wealth through the world, and create a world in which the United States can operate in peacefully and with prosperity. And in so doing, I think both the Chinese and the Russians hear echoes of their own thinking and believe that this is a United States that they're going to be able to work with in terms of affirming their own interests and their own purpose in their so-called spheres of interest and influence. The problem this is going to create for us is that we have overlapping alliances and partnerships that don't accept this sphere of influence view of the world, that don't accept that Russia or China or any other great power should have a degree of control or influence over them just because they're close to Russia or China or distant from the United States. In fact, one of the attractions that the United States has held for many countries around the world is that we provide not only support for political autonomy and for the political independence of these nations, but we also, through our economy, through our trade, through our investment, give them an opportunity to leapfrog out of whatever region they happen to be in order to engage with the larger global economy. And the shrinking of the United States, the intention of the administration to reshape the U.S. from a global hegemon into a regional hegemon, I believe is a bad portent for the world we're going to find ourselves living in.
So, in summary, more chaos as a result of these actions. With that, I yield back.
Thank you, Ranking Member, and thank you for having the hearing, which should have been done with the full committee. I'm concerned that the actions of the new self-proclaimed acting president of Venezuela, President Trump, are built on prevarications and lies. We can talk about, whether Maduro's a bad guy, whether he isn't, but the lies and the evasiveness and the misleading that's being done, not just to Congress, but to the American public, is first and foremost in my mind. This isn't about drugs. It isn't about lethal fentanyl, because it's not coming from Venezuela. It's not about cocaine coming here. Most of it is headed to North Africa and then to Europe, where the cost of cocaine is $80,000 a kilogram versus $28,000 here. The incentive is to push that to Europe. And it's certainly not about drugs when he pardons a drug dealer like Juan Orlando Hernandez, who's convicted of 400 tons of cocaine. And it's not about the boats that are akin to the boats I see outside of Cape Cod, recreational boats, 30, 35 feet. That's what they're targeting. And these are extrajudicial killings that are occurring there around those boats. I got to see the video of the second strike. The American public should see the video of the second strike. Every other primary video has been released. There's no security interest that prevents the American public from seeing. Again, misleading the American public about the actions that are there. They said it wasn't about regime change. They lied to this Congress time and time again, saying this isn't about regime change. All the while, months in planning to the detail of a replica building where Maduro was living so they could plan the extraction and the military action, yes, military action, taking him out of there. There's no consent to go in there. There's no self-defense factor. There's no authorization from the Security Council of the UN. Indeed, they're moving forward. And what I'm worried about now, with 20% of our military assets parked outside this area, where we're losing soldiers who have been killed in the Middle East, redeployed there and sitting there at a cost that they won't even share with the American public or even this Congress of doing that. My concern is, what's the next step here? And what I want to ask you is, with your background, I'm really concerned. We're moving in an embassy there. We're going to have to secure that embassy with American military protection and State Department protection. We're going to be dealing with a government where we're not on the ground, and yet I want all of you, just jump in whenever you can. I am so concerned about our troops having to be deployed there, because this is a tinderbox that's occurring there. You've got internally, you've had this before the Americans came in. You've got a tinderbox where you have three major groups at least there. You have the Ministry of the Interior, who has his own militia and is very popular politically in that regard, has violent background. You have the Minister of Defense, and then you have the Vice President, now acting president, well, other acting presidents. I guess we have two now that are there. And one of them has $25 million on their head. They're plotting, they're moving. If there's any kind of interaction there, which is almost predictable, how is the U.S. going to come in and intervene without troops on the ground, without risking our young men and women in the military? What's that threat that they're internally, that we're not doing anything to plan for?
Thank you, Congressman. You're right. There are multiple armed groups, some of them aligned with the regime and others that are not aligned with the regime, engaged in economic activities, engaged in just illicit mining, for example, protection money, etc. So these groups don't have loyalty oftentimes to any single political group or political center. And if there is, and I said if, there is a collapse of that regime, if that regime decides to break down and loses control over at least urban areas, you could very well see in a scenario, worst case scenario, a kind of civil war or civil conflict among these different armed groups, not for any ideology, I would say, but really for control of territory, control of resources, etc. And as I indicated in my remarks, in my statement, the regime is trying to do everything possible to try to get the president to forget about Venezuela. Perhaps the calculation is if we give them something along the lines of the petroleum industry, that will be enough for the president to declare victory, and we can wage, we can hedge, we can delay, and ultimately stay in power, and therefore control these armed groups if it's necessary, right? That's a scenario that they are banking on. But to end my comments, Congressman, I think we are in a very fluid, dynamic, and uncertain situation. We can play all kinds of scenarios and options here, but we really don't know what's likely to happen, because the administration, as we all have indicated, doesn't have a roadmap, doesn't have a strategy, did not plan the day after. And I suspect they haven't done that yet.
Well, as I yield back my time, I'm over it. This is a 5-year or longer projection here to go down the road you're talking about with oil. Our troops are going to be in jeopardy. And mark my words, the threat of them being drawn in is very serious, and all the while we're being misled. The American public is being misled. I yield back.
Thank you, Chairman Meeks, for calling this special hearing. I'm going to start out with a very obvious fact. If Donald Trump's Venezuela operation was good for America.
As we come up on 9:28 right now, we'll get back to that hearing, a special meeting talking about the situation in Venezuela. We'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. At 9:30, you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal as we bring you the latest live feeds, local, state, and national news. We'll get you back out to Washington, D.C. With this special meeting for the House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee talking about Venezuela.
That's crazy. But in addition, you're going to need 2 decades of investment to make this even work out. The only way that works is you got to believe you're going to have a Republican trifecta for 2 decades. And guess what? Later this year, there'll be an election for a new Congress. In less than 3 years, there'll be an election for a new president. If you believe there's going to be a Republican trifecta that's going to guarantee you 2 decades of secure investment in Venezuela, you are crazy and stupid. And if you make that investment, I guarantee you, I'm going to play clips of this hearing when your board fires you later on. I yield back.
You know, we're going to step away from that as we're seeing there are some audio issues on that side. So let's go ahead and switch gears here and take you down to Florida. This is Pinellas County with the governor, Governor Ron DeSantis, holding a press conference at Seminole High School. Let's go ahead and see what he has to discuss on Live Impact News.
And you don't have these things happening like we did in the past. And so that's really, really good. But, you know, it's interesting. And we talk about this with U.S. Supreme Court gets obviously a lot of attention when those vacancies come up, and the court's been involved in a lot of issues that perhaps it should never have gotten into over many, many decades. But it becomes more of a flashpoint. But it's interesting. Article 3 of the federal Constitution says, your job is to decide cases and controversies. It doesn't even say judicial review. It's just, you decide a case. You got to decide, does the Constitution conflict with the statute? If so, you got to prefer the Constitution. So you have that. But that's really, it's interesting. The Florida Supreme Court, it's the same posture, I think, on a lot of cases, but they also have a lot of authority to regulate the legal profession, to regulate the bar, to even have the set out the role that you would have for some of this stuff. And that's not necessarily as passive, right? Because you go out and you're charged with doing some of these things. And I think that there's room, to be really, really bold as it goes there. For example, Texas Supreme Court just recently nuked basically any involvement in the American Bar Association for accrediting the law schools in Texas. And the reason was simple. I mean, the ABA is a very, very partisan activist organization. And you know what? You have a right to be that, but you should not then be the arbiter of legal education, all these other things. And so Supreme Court of Texas said that's not the way we're going to do accreditation. It's going to go through the court's accreditation. And that was a very valid thing to do given the circumstances. So there's actually a lot of ability, I think, to make some really positive changes within that somewhat narrow window that Florida's Constitution has given to the Florida Supreme Court, probably in a way that the U.S. Constitution, does not give to the U.S. Supreme Court. So I think it's an important thing to be able to do. You have a record you look at interview, all these different things, and ultimately it's like someone could be on the court for 20, 30 years. And so there's certain issues we know may be percolating now, and you obviously want to see that people have a good frame of mind on that. But who knows what will come down the pike in 15 years. And really the only way you can be confident that you're going to get good decisions is to have somebody that's got a really solid foundation, really understands the law, the Constitution, is dedicated to the craft of applying the law and not legislating from the bench. So these are things that are all really, really important. And so we had a lot of great candidates for this particular appointment. But I'm here today to announce that I am going to be signing the appointment to put Judge Adam Tannenbaum to be the next Supreme Court Justice in Florida. Judge Tannenbaum is currently an appeals judge in the 1st District Court of Appeals. Now, why did we come to Seminole High School to do this? Well, he graduated first in his class from Seminole High School back when he was a student, having grown up in this area, and his parents still live very close by right here in Pinellas County. So then he's #1 at Seminole High School. Then he goes to graduate #1 again at the University of Florida. So he's with student government and into Florida Blue Key and UF Hall of Fame now. He received his law degree from Georgetown University Law Center. He did not let that pollute his frame of mind, I'm happy to say, because otherwise he wouldn't be getting this nomination. And so he went through that, done. And then he's had a really distinguished legal career, and he's done a variety of things, not just as a judge, but also working in the different branches of government. And I think he's done very well as a judge. He's written a lot of very important opinions, clearly has a very coherent view of the law. But I will tell you this, I was talking to some of my guys after I interviewed the judge. And it's like we've got 23+ million people, in the state of Florida. And I would guarantee you, you will not find 10 people out of that 23 million that knows more about Florida government, not just law and Supreme Court and courts, but the agencies, the legislative branch, all that, than Judge Tannenbaum. I mean, he knows this stuff very, very well, and I think he's bringing, I was thinking, he probably knows more. I've been running the executive branch. He may know more than me. He knows how these things work. He knows the pressure points. And I think it's very valuable knowledge to be able to do it. So he's had to think deeply about what's the purpose of the Constitution of the state and these institutions. And ultimately, it's to preserve a free society, to give people opportunities to be able to make the most of their God-given talents, to make sure we maintain order and public safety, and all the really core things is what we're driving for. And so I think he brings a really, really strong background for that. and I think he's going to do a really, really good job on the Florida Supreme Court. You know, we gave a little talk in Tallahassee yesterday for the state of the state, and, you know, we listed off all the things, you know, 7 years ago to now, all the things that we've achieved, and it's really, really great, and all that, and on an individual basis, yeah, you know, lower taxes, yes, I mean, we've paid down all this debt that the states had, all these great things. But in the larger context, it's okay, we're on America's 250th anniversary coming up on July 4th, 2026. And, you know, the founders were not just worried about the taxes without representation or not having a monarchy. Those were important, but the larger question was, you know, could you have self-government actually succeed? Because you know what, it hadn't ever succeeded, you know, in a...
All right, we will break away from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis for a quick 2-minute break. See you on the other side on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Back here now at 9:41 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Another story that we're following out of South Carolina is a bill that would ban abortion after conception. Several bills introduced yesterday related to restricting abortion access. And our Richard Devane has the latest from South Carolina now on WCNC Plus.
Wednesday morning to anyone watching us on the Plus. We can tell you that the laws here in South Carolina as far as abortion are concerned have been pretty strict, and now these new bills, if passed, could make it even stricter. The proposals would add to the state's current 6-week abortion ban and include some of the strongest restrictions considered so far. One Senate bill would ban abortion from the moment of conception. Now that would effectively eliminate nearly all abortions in the state. Limited exceptions would remain for rape and incest up to 12 weeks. Several House bills focus on abortion pills, which account for more than half of abortions nationwide. One proposal would classify medication as controlled substance, making it a felony to possess or provide them without a prescription. Another bill would allow private citizens to sue anyone involved in providing abortion pills, including manufacturers and distributors. That same measure would make it a crime to pay for an abortion for a South Carolina resident even if the procedure happens in another state. Additional bills would permanently block abortion clinics from receiving Medicaid funding and create a new crime for forcing someone to have an abortion against their will. All these laws could make it even tougher for those who seek abortions in the state of South Carolina or elsewhere.
Because I've never had an unplanned pregnancy, and if I wanted to be pregnant, I wouldn't have had an IUD. So it was just, it felt dehumanizing, and I felt like I wasn't prioritized with respect to our healthcare system and our government.
That woman, Ms. Shelton, actually went from South Carolina to North Carolina seeking an abortion. Now, these bills are all just introduced. We'll keep you posted on every step of the way throughout. We're right here in York County. This is Richard Devane. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
Those bills, of course, we will continue to follow whatever is the fallout and reaction regarding very strict abortion rules in South Carolina. Right now, we want to go back to Florida. This is the press conference happening in Pinellas County with the governor. They are at Seminole High School. Let's go ahead and listen in on Live Impact News.
Announcing this appointment here makes this all that much more meaningful. Indeed, this appointment has deep meaning for me for two other reasons. One that the governor just mentioned. First, I'm faced with the awesome responsibility of filling the seat vacated by Charles Kennedy, a legal giant, a warrior for the cause, and a true public servant. I hope that I am worthy to the task. Second, I get to serve as the justice from the Tampa Bay area, my home, and I'm proud of that as well.
All right, the Uvalde police officer trial well underway in South Texas, and it looks like they are already calling up witnesses to the stand. This is the officer Adrian Gonzalez now on this trial that has made some national headlines. Let's go ahead and listen in.
Okay, sir, you can, I don't know, is he going to be the first witness?
No, sir.
Okay. I think I've got a witness room for you, so you excuse to be called later on. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. Who are you going to call for? Guilty.
That looks like it's a sidebar to me, so let's go ahead and take a break on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus at 9:48. Want to get you out to a live press conference right now. This is in Columbia, South Carolina. It is the Protect Girls Spaces press conference, and let's go ahead and listen in.
And dignity of women and girls. Like South Carolina, states such as West Virginia and Idaho were among the first to enact common sense laws to protect fairness and safety in women's sports. Those laws were defended at the U.S. Supreme Court yesterday by a state's attorney generals and Alliance Defending Freedom. This moment is beyond athletics. So it's about whether states can retain the authority to draw clear, objective lines that protect women and girls from real harm. These are intimate and vulnerable spaces. In South Carolina, we understand that protecting privacy is not discrimination. It's a matter of decency. Women deserve spaces where their bodies, dignity, and boundaries are respected. Men do not belong in women's showers, restrooms, or locker rooms, especially where young girls are present. Allowing unrestricted access removes all objective safeguards and exposes women and children to unnecessary risk. That's not compassion, and it's not responsible. In South Carolina, we will stand united as parents and educators and lawmakers and citizens to protect women's privacy, uphold fairness, and do what's right for the next generation. I want to turn it over to Majority Leader Massey to give his remarks.
Thank you, Tanya, for that. Thank you for being here. This is a great crowd. Thank y'all for being here. This is important. I'm still baffled that we're even having this conversation. In 2022, South Carolina passed legislation to protect women's sports. In 2024, we passed legislation to prevent experimental and harmful gender transition surgeries on minors. This year, I fully expect that the Senate will pass the Privacy Act, which will strengthen language that we've had in proviso that Senator Wes Clymer spearheaded a couple years ago to keep men out of women's bathrooms, more important, to keep boys out of girls' bathrooms in schools. And it really is ironic just how timely this event is here today because of the Supreme Court oral arguments yesterday. And I know most of us have seen and read clips about that oral argument, but it was baffling to me again yesterday when Justice Alito asks the question, essentially, what is a woman? And the response, as you know, was, Your Honor, we don't have a definition for the court. Well, Justice Alito then asked, then how are we supposed to be able to do it if you can't tell us what a woman is? Ladies and gentlemen, in South Carolina, we know what a woman is. These are some very strong women standing beside me and behind me. We know what a woman is. And if it falls on South Carolina to educate the rest of the country about what a woman is, we are happy to assume that burden.
Yes, we are.
We're going to keep fighting on this. We're going to protect girls. We're going to protect women. And we're going to do it because of the support right here. Yeah. Thank you all very much.
I'm Speaker Pro Tem Tommy Pope from the House and one of the sponsors of the House bill. I feel like it's deja vu all over again. To take what the Senator just said, I stood right here and said I could never believe in my career that we'd have to have a bill like this. And, you know, one of the phrases that's kind of come in our lexicon of late is gaslighting. And we all know what it is, and I think we as citizens have been gaslit to the point that we even have to have a discussion about which bathrooms the men and which the women. Now, this is not about discrimination. Every time we talk about this is, oh, well, you don't understand, my child's had difficulty, my child. We want to respect that child. That child can have access to privacy, but to do it, we don't need to rob everyone else's daughter of privacy. And so I want to thank Chairman Weston Newton of the Judiciary. Travis Moore will have the hearing today for the subcommittee. Again, I hate to think that we've been talking about this. I was teasing Judge Clary, that used to be a member, was down here. He was a judge when I was solicitor, and we had a bill about Sharia law. And we kind of laughed. We don't have Sharia law in South Carolina. Why would we have Sharia law? Well, now I think we might have to have a bill about Sharia law. Well, it's the same thing. Why would we have to have a bill about bathrooms? So we have to. Well, we have to. Society has dictated it. And again, as the Senator said, South Carolina is going to do something about it. So I urge you that are involved to stay involved. We're hopeful to have a hearing this morning. If security will work out, we're going to finish it up this afternoon. We want both sides to be heard. But this isn't a really difficult issue. And when we've heard from educational facilities, universities, others that they can't comply, I can't even begin to imagine how you cannot easily comply with this. And so we look forward
Time
to
right now is 9:53. We'll get you back to that press conference, and this is also going to be recorded. You'll find it in its entirety once it's done on our YouTube channel as well as on our website, WCNC.com. Right now it is 9:54. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Okay. All right, we are just conducting a test. Mia, hi, can you hear us? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. I got you 5x5 as well. At 9:56, you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. And with the new year, of course, many of us are looking to improve our health and wellness, but it can be hard to know how and where to start. We're going to check in with registered dietitian and nutrition expert Mia Sin, joining us here on Zoom on Live Impact News, discussing a smarter approach. Mia, good morning to you. Thanks for joining me here. Explain foundational health.
Yes, well, foundational health is about supporting the core systems that affect how we feel every day and through consistent daily support rather than those short-term fixes. And even those who eat well can still fall short on those key nutrients due to busy lifestyles and modern diets.
All right, so what are the areas that I know I try to get some sleep, I try to reduce the stress, right? What are some of the areas, why are these areas so important?
Yes, well, a great place to start is with a high quality daily multivitamin because it can help cover those common nutritional gaps and simplify your wellness routine. And I really like the Garden of Life Organics Men's Daily Multivitamin. It is a convenient once a day tablet. It has 15 essential vitamins and minerals, including D3, selenium, and B12 for energy support. Another high quality option is the V Thrive, the Vitamin Shop Bioactive Men's Multivitamin. That's designed for men who want a clean, high potency formula, and it delivers a blend of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants.
What is the difference between these whole food multivitamins and regular multivitamins?
You know, it's really just down to the quality. I like Garden of Life because they use whole foods to craft their supplements. And so it's just, I think it's higher quality overall, and it can help fill in those nutrient gaps. Modern diets, we can put our best foot forward when it comes to eating well, but we still can fall short on key nutrients. One of those being magnesium, vitamin D3. We know magnesium's involved in hundreds of processes in the body, and so a supplement could be of benefit. There's this one by Garden of Life. They're gummies, and I know a lot of people who are hesitant to take vitamins will turn to gummies because they're delicious and they're easy to remember to take. These have prebiotics and probiotics as well. And then for people with a sensitive stomach or who prefer capsules, the Pure Encapsulations Magnesium Glycinate is a great alternative. It's less likely to cause digestive discomfort, and that's also available at the Vitamin Shop.
We hear the difference between prebiotics and probiotics, some of the buzzwords we hear now. So what is the importance of that in our foundational health routine?
Yes, well, probiotics are those beneficial bacteria. They're found in fermented foods like sauerkraut, yogurt, and prebiotics are, you can think of as the fuel for those good bacteria. They help selectively nourish those good bacteria. And overall, they support healthy gut microbiome, which is such a hot area of research. They're linking our gut health to everything from the way we feel, our digestion, our energy, immunity. So it's really something that, if you take care of that, you're taking care of your whole body.
All right. Mia Sin, registered dietitian and nutritional expert. Thank you for giving us the latest and greatest. I myself am enjoying my supplemental era, if you will. All right. See you next time. Thanks.
Thanks.
Here at 10 o'clock right now, we are on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Thanks for joining us this morning. As we are also, we're going to switch from that back to this press conference on girls' spaces, protecting girls' spaces out of Columbia, South Carolina. Let's go ahead and continue to listen in on Live Impact News.
Logical sense. And that matters even more than ever because we're talking about tax-funded buildings, and we're talking about tax funding going to these buildings. So if taxpayers are funding these spaces, then they should expect that women and girls and men and boys like my two sons have privacy and dignity when it matters most. There's a lot of different groups and people represented here today, and this is a common sense issue that we can all unite around. And it isn't extreme, it's common sense. So thank you very much, and thank you to everyone who is here supporting this issue today. Thank you. Good job.
Good morning, Representative Melissa Remus from Aiken County. I won't reiterate what everyone said, but like my colleague said, this is about common sense. A few years ago, we were in the trenches fighting Save Women's Sports. Again, what we thought was common sense became baffling to so many people, and it became an issue about we're not fair, we want to discriminate, we want to hurt all those others. What are you doing? You want to eliminate all these freedoms for those kids. What about those kids? Well, like Jackie was saying, as a mom, protecting those kids, that's our first instinct. And as parents, it doesn't have to be just the moms, it's the dads too, the ones that play sports, or just when you think about your child going in a locker room and they've been innocent and you've done everything in your power to protect them, and then they go to school and then they're subjected to something and they come home and tell you about that, that's more traumatizing than anything else. So the word common sense is what we keep saying over and over, and it should be the theme. And so thankful that we have some of that in South Carolina left. We are told it's unnecessary. We're told it's extreme. We're told it's controversial, but it is not. It is time that we protect the basic dignities of life and privacy for our women. This bill is about
At 10:02, you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Majestic storm back in the studio after a break. We'll get a look at your forecast when we come back. right, thanks for hanging with us here at 10:05 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Today is the Wednesday before the chilliest day ever. Ever.
Just a little dramatic.
Ever,
it probably
ever.
is going to feel like it, though.
This
We're a
year
little
so
dramatic.
far. Yeah.
True.
I mean, this is what we do.
We're a little dramatic when it comes to cold.
We bring the drama when
Yeah.
it's too cold like this, Majestic.
This morning, though, the warmest morning that we've had in a while.
That bad.
I mean, it didn't
still
feel
have-
like warm, but 40s was much better than what we have had.
Yeah, that is true. I'll give you that.
Okay. We
I'll
gotta
give you
find a
that,
little
Miss
silver
Storm.
lining.
But we're looking for some winter weather for
Yeah.
real.
We are. Here's the
right.
thing. We are all going to feel cooler temperatures by tomorrow. We're also all going to feel some gusty winds. Some of us will see some light rain and then mountain snowfall as well. So a lot to get to. Let's just point out kind of the impacts that you need to be ready for the day today. I just looked outside. It's now beautiful. That's for
is
sure. It is ugly. We have a lot of cloud coverage out there, and we're looking at just cloudy, windy conditions, and again, a little bit of mist and drizzle out there. Maybe a couple of spotty showers, but really rain will not be the major widespread impact today. And then again, back behind the strong cold front, we have much colder temperatures ahead. That starts to move in tonight and especially by tomorrow morning. So let's get straight to it. Satellite and radar, this is what it looks like. And really across the southeast, we're seeing those impacts. Cloudy, rainy, and wet for a lot of us. But look at what happens once we bring it a little closer home. Now, Doppler radar, it looks a little deceiving. At this point, you're looking at it thinking, okay, a lot of us, we're getting rain. But here's the thing. We have some dry air that's kind of just eating up the rain. So the rain falls, it hits the dry air, and then we don't get a ton of the rain actually touching the surface. Now, could we still have a little bit of mist and drizzle out there? Absolutely. Even a few spotty showers as well. So not staying perfectly dry, but don't be caught off guard when you're looking at this Doppler radar. Now, areas south of Charlotte, perhaps tapping into a little bit of heavier rain at times. So just be prepared for that if you're heading out the door, if you're going to be traveling today. Again, we are watching that front, bringing with it spotty rain showers, but really the gusty winds and then the cold air. That's what we will all feel. This is what it looks like outside right now. This is out towards Lake Norman, so plan for a cloudy day today. Yesterday, we got spoiled with all the sunshine. Temperatures were really mild. And today, overall, I wouldn't say our temperatures are cold. They're going to stay mild, but then really by tomorrow, I would say it's going to be a cold one. This is what the rest of our day looks like. Notice daytime highs rising right around 54 degrees. And where should we actually be this time of the year? It's 52, so we're not too far from that. Holding on to cloudy skies through most of the day, and we'll have opportunities for a few hit and miss showers, especially right around lunchtime for the Charlotte metro area. But again, I don't think all of it is actually going to touch the ground because of that layer of dry air. Into the afternoon, right around 2, 3, 4 o'clock, I think we'll have an opportunity to actually see a little bit of sunshine. So picking up the kids, hopefully that sunshine will try to break through those thick clouds, but I'm not promising you perfectly clear conditions or anything like that. Temperatures, though, they remain all right, I would say. Now let's talk about the wind, because as this front is pushing through, the wind is going to be something that we will all feel. Now, will we all get rain? No. Will we all get snow? Definitely not, but I think the wind will be the thing that we will all definitely feel. Today, they're going to be moving in from the southwest anywhere from about 20 to 30 miles an hour for most of us. And because they're moving in from the southwest, that helps to explain those mild temperatures. So it's just pulling in more mild conditions. Again, temperatures back into the 50s, a little breezy, plan for that today. But watch what happens when we're kind of just breaking down the wind even more. Here's 9 o'clock tonight, still pretty breezy all across our viewing area. And then look at this. This is Thursday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. So you're waking up tomorrow, you're heading to work, you're maybe trying to get those kids up and out of bed. Those winds start to pick up, especially up in the high country. Some of those winds gusting up to around 40 miles an hour. So a windy day. But the problem is that it's already going to be really cold. So you add those winds on top of the cold temperatures, and all of a sudden it's really going to hurt stepping outside tomorrow. So again, a lot of us woke up to those 30s and 40s for our temperatures, and then tomorrow morning, here's 7 a.m., it's going to feel like it's below zero for some of us up in the higher elevation. So Ash, Watauga, Avery, Blowing Rock, Boone, we're seeing those cold feel like temperatures. So those aren't actually our air temperatures. It's just what it's actually going to feel like on your skin. Yeah, the air temperature on top of those gusty winds, not the best scenario. And then in and around the greater Charlotte metro area, still teens, low 20s is what it's going to feel like heading out the door tomorrow. So hopefully you didn't put away your big winter coat, because tomorrow's going to be the day that you want it. But I will say, keep it handy for Friday morning as well. Those winds will die down Friday morning, but by that point, all of that cold northerly air is going to be settled in. So waking up on Friday here in Charlotte, 19 degrees is what we're going for. And again, we woke up to temperatures in the 40s this morning, and some people were thinking, it's kind of cold heading out the door today. Friday morning is going to be a whole different setup, so we're preparing you for that. So we've covered, it's going to be cloudy. We have some rain chances, a little mist and drizzle, and then that cold air spilling over. Now let's kind of start transitioning into our future cast. So here's about 11 o'clock in the morning. Will some of us actually get some rain? Yes, but it does not seem like it's going to be a widespread rain event at all. Cloudy throughout the first half of our day, and then once we head into the afternoon, about 12, 1 o'clock, maybe a few raindrops in the Charlotte metro area as well. Notice we have less white when we're looking at that 3 o'clock hour, so that just means less cloud coverage. And this is what I was talking about, maybe you're picking up the kids after school, or they have an after school sports activity that takes them outside. We're dry and perhaps a little bit of sunshine peeking through the clouds. But then by 5 o'clock tonight, coming home from work, especially if you're up in the mountains, this is when we'll start to see those mountain impacts. So it likely will start out as a wintry mix, rain, snow, possibly some sleet. Most of this is well north of I-40 though. Once we head and fast forward a little bit later into the day today, here's 8 o'clock, then we're seeing that transition into that blue, which is of course indicating that mountain snow. Now I think for higher elevations, good opportunity for some fresh powder, but I even think for our mountain communities, you'll see those snowy and icy impacts tonight and into Thursday morning. So could we have a couple of school delays tomorrow? Perhaps. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. And if you have someplace to be early on Thursday morning, make sure you allow for time to get to where you need to be, because there's a good chance you're going to be waking up to some snow. Once we're heading into Thursday at 7 o'clock in the morning though, basically the snow's done. Maybe a few more light snow flurries up in the mountains. And it's important to note that also in the Charlotte metro area, we're really not tapping into a lot of moisture at all. Mainly for us, it's a drier cold front, so it's bringing with it mainly the wind and just a little bit of that precipitation. But let's talk about snow. How much snow are we looking at when it comes to the front that's pushing in? Again, tonight and into Thursday. So for our mountain counties, not everyone will see the snow, but generally 1 to 2 inches of snow is what we're looking at. So nothing significantly impactful, especially, if you live up there, you're kind of used to this. Probably will want to shovel though, because it's going to stay cold. It's going to be that very, very light snowfall where you can basically take a leaf blower and blow off your sidewalk. That's how light that snow is going to be. But could we accumulate a couple inches? I think some of us definitely could. Once we're heading into areas west of us though, models are picking up on a little bit more snowfall up towards those higher elevations. So of course, always making our ski resorts pretty happy. Lots of skiers and snowboarders will be happy to have that fresh powder. Now, once we get through the snow for the mountains, the gusty winds for us, kind of our gloomy day today, then we're just kind of transitioning, remember, into tomorrow. Thursday's just going to be an overall pretty day, a lot of sunshine, but you will feel the chill in the air throughout the day. Starting out chilly, daytime highs only climbing into the upper 30s, so not even 40 degrees for our high temperature tomorrow. Then we're looking at even colder conditions Thursday and into Friday, 19 degrees heading out the door Friday morning. So that is definitely a little concerning, and that's just our air temperature in Charlotte. Once we're looking up towards the higher elevations, we could see air temperatures even in the single digits. Then getting a little warmer, still a bit below our average though. Remember that number is 52. 48 is where we'll top off on Friday, and then this upcoming weekend, I would say Saturday. Saturday is the day where it's going to be a nice one, a good day to spend some time outside. 53 degrees, we'll have plenty of sunshine. You can see it here all in our Jerry Hunt Super Center 7-day forecast. Little cooler as we're wrapping up our weekend, and we're watching another weak system then, but again, it doesn't seem like it's going to bring a lot of moisture with it. Again, just another drop in those temperatures. So definitely feeling a whole lot more like winter time, but I always say at least we have the sunshine. That always makes it look better. It's still enjoyable to be outside, and it actually feels warmer when you're just standing out in the sun on a cold day.
Yeah, definitely. Everything helps.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Majestic. We'll take it. Appreciate you.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
All right, happy hump day. We will be right back and take you out to the au pair affair murder trial underway out of Virginia. That's coming up on the other side of the break. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Time right now is 10:17 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Scandalous, if not just downright spicy trial taking place right now out of Virginia. Get you caught up here with the man, Brendan Banfield, a North Virginia man accused of killing his wife, Christine Banfield. And this is his au pair after having an affair with the au pair. And the au pair is now, in some of her details, saying that she helped conduct the murder of the wife, as well as another stranger, Joseph Ryan. A lot of details here, but let's go ahead and dip into this trial on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. All right, that right there is Mr. Banfield, and this is the au pair, Juliana Perez Malagajes, who took the stand yesterday. Today is day 2 of the testimony. You can hear the silence right now. Still silent. So as Carlene is monitoring the audio from her testimony, it seems that the attorneys are collecting their thoughts, and she's just answering some basic questions right now. All right, but let's go ahead and listen in.
When was it originally formulated?
Can you talk a little bit louder, please? I can't really hear you.
When was it originally formulated?
Originally,
Yes.
say after October, when he first mentioned the plan, that was just, at that point, was just get rid of Christine. And then I can tell you exact the date.
Okay.
But
So sometime in October, the plan was to get rid of Christine.
Yes.
At what point did there become clear actions that we're going to be taking?
What do you mean?
Did it ever grow to be something other than that?
Yes.
Okay, when did that happen?
When I created a website, I would say in January.
Okay, and that was January?
Yeah.
Okay, January 9th?
I can tell you the date.
Okay. Okay, well, let's just talk about that. So, I think you testified that the creation of a website required an email in Christine's name, correct?
Yes, correct.
Do you remember the email address?
I do not.
Okay. Do you remember, were you there when the email was created?
Yes.
Okay. And what device was it created on?
Laptop?
Okay. Now, was Christine home at that time?
Yes.
Okay. So describe for me how you and Brendan were able to get Christine's laptop on this day when that email was connected.
Like I mentioned before, every time we would get her laptop, it'll be because she'd get home from work or the day before, her backpack would be by the door with her laptop in it and her work stuff in it. And so it was, I would say, easy access.
Okay, I've heard you say that before, but what I'm asking is, who took the laptop from wherever it was that Christina thought it was?
That day, I do not remember.
Okay. Do you remember after the laptop was obtained, what room that you were in?
What?
What room that you were in?
What room in the house?
Yes.
When the laptop was up.
So
I'm confused.
you just said you don't remember who grabbed the laptop,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Correct? But you're saying somebody grabbed the laptop, and I
Yes.
assume you're meaning between either my client or you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And at some point, there was a creation of a new email, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And where was that when that happened?
I do not remember.
Okay. So, so you don't know who took it, you don't remember that, you don't remember where the actual action to get this all started, the first part of the plan, you didn't remember that?
No.
Okay. Did you know at the time that you were creating it where Christine Banfield was?
In the bedroom, upstairs.
Okay, so you can conclude that you weren't in the bedroom or upstairs, correct?
No.
So you just don't know what area of the house you were in?
Correct.
Okay. Now, leading up to that, did you and Brendan talk about how you were going to do it, or what type of an account it was going to be, or what kind of name?
If we talked about it?
Yeah.
Probably did, but
Okay.
I can tell you details.
I'm sorry, did you say you can't tell any details?
I can't remember details
Okay,
of
you can't
how the
remember the
email
details.
was, the name, or, yeah.
Okay. And so, who was the one typing?
Typing what specifically? The email?
Yeah, to open the account.
Brendan?
Okay. Did you at any point type anything in or do anything to assist him with the laptop?
Yeah, eventually.
Well, on this initial day, which was when this all started.
Not that I recall.
Okay. So the actual beginning of this action plan, what do you recall about it?
Well, you asked, and I told you things I remember. That's what I remember.
Well, you didn't remember anything, though. So what did you actually remember from that day?
Well, I remember that the account was created, the email, and that Christine was upstairs in the bedroom. That's it.
So there was an account created and Christine was in the bedroom.
Yes.
But you don't know where you and Brendan were
I can't tell you for sure.
You don't know who got the laptop, which was the device that was used to create the account?
Correct.
And other than saying, well, she usually leaves her bag by the door, you don't know whether it was obtained from the door, correct?
You can say that.
Well, I'd rather you tell me.
Yes.
Okay. Now, we'll get back to that, but ma'am, you were just speaking with Ms. Sprisler about letters.
Yes.
And that was a common way for you to communicate, correct?
Yes.
Is that displaying?
It's displaying just to the attorneys,
Okay,
to myself. If you would like her to see it, I just need an exhibit number.
Yes, Your Honor, this would be exhibit number 1.
Okay, and you want to display it to the witness?
Display to the witness, please.
Okay.
Ma'am, can you see that?
Yes, I can.
And if you can, just let me know when you need me to scroll for you. And I can make sure you see the whole thing.
I can see it.
Are you able to read that?
The whole letter?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm able to see it.
Do you want to read the whole letter?
Do you want me to?
I want to make sure that this is your letter. Is this your letter?
Yes, that's
This
my
is a
letter.
letter that you wrote, it looks like on December 8th, 2023?
Yes.
And that would have been about 2 months after you were arrested on this charge?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
And calling your attention to the highlighted portion. Is that fair and accurate?
Did you ask something? I'm sorry, I was reading.
I was asking you to read it, yes. Have you read it?
Yeah, I read it.
Okay. And the yellow portion there, can you read that, please?
Yes. Well, now that you know, parentheses, I mean, they already knew, close parentheses, that I'm not going to cooperate with them. There is nothing I can do. So I don't know what they are going to use. I mean, everything they have and can. I don't know everything. I just have the feeling they might hold me here until my trial. It can take months, years. There are many theories of what had happened, set up by you, us, or I wasn't supposed to be there, and etc.
Okay. In this letter, which you wrote, it suggests that someone from the Commonwealth had been talking to you about cooperating against Brendan. Is that correct?
No, they never talked directly with me.
Okay. How would they communicate that to you?
Through my lawyer.
Your Honor, that seems that are not in evidence at this point. Overruled.
How would they communicate that to you?
Through my lawyer.
Okay. And so this is 2 months after you were arrested. And were you given an opportunity to plead guilty and cooperate at that time?
Yes.
Okay. And what was it that they were offering you at that time?
At that point, my lawyer had said that they were offering, in exchange for my cooperation, they would offer me a misdemeanor and I would be released on time served.
Okay. And I guess, as I understand it, your lawyer communicated that to you, and then you made the decision as to that?
Yeah,
And what was your decision?
that I didn't want it.
Okay, so you rejected the misdemeanor offer
Yes,
based on what you knew?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
No.
Judge, may we publish this to the jury?
If you're going to, are you entering into evidence?
Actually, I'm sorry, I'll hold off.
Okay.
And can you see the letter on your screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, that's going to be marked as Defense Exhibit 2. This is a 4-page letter, so I'll scroll through it if you need to identify it. Tell me when you need to move.
I can see it.
Okay. Do you want me to scroll it so you can read the rest of it?
If you like, yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure you have full understanding of what it is. This would be page 2 of 3.
Mm-hmm. I see it.
Okay. And this is page 3 of 3.
I can see it.
Okay. This looks like it was written on November 1st, 2023. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that's your signature down at the bottom? Or
Yes.
your name? Let me bring your attention to the highlighted portions.
Okay.
Can you read that, please?
Yes. I said, it's killing me, and I mean it. And then another paragraph. It breaks my heart to think that I may not be able to be with you guys soon. It hurts me extremely thinking that I may not be there for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, friend's birthday, and all those special dates with the situation.
Okay. And do you recall, was this, so this would have been sooner than the one that I showed you before? Because it was November. Do you recall whether the offer of a misdemeanor had been extended prior to you writing this?
I can recall.
Okay. So you don't know whether it was before writing this or after writing this?
I can't say for sure.
Okay. Ma'am, I put on the screen what will be marked as Defense Exhibit number 3. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
And this appears to be, well, you tell me. I don't want to suggest anything to you. What's the date at the top of the letter?
14/11/2023.
So November 14th, 2023?
Yes.
Okay. And did you get a chance to read that first page?
I can see it on the screen.
Okay. And I just want to make sure you have a chance to read it. I'm not trying to rush you through.
Oh, do you want me to read them?
Well, I want you to make sure that you know it's your letters.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
When you're ready to know that that's your letter, then I'm happy with that.
It is my letter.
Okay. Let me call your attention to the highlighted portion. And this is after you've already signed off from your signature, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And if you can just read that aloud, please.
Yes, I said, I can bear living this without you. It's too much pain that I don't want to live like this. I can't. I just don't want to feel this way anymore. It's a torture. I love him more than anything.
Okay. And can you describe for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what is the feeling that you're talking about and what is the torture that you're describing?
Being in this situation,
Okay.
what I was going through mentally.
Can you articulate what that situation was on November 14th, 2023 that was causing you torture?
It's being away from my family. It's being in a situation I've been in for the past 2 years.
Well, we're talking about then, what you were feeling then, which would have been November 14th, 2023.
I guess the fact of being away from him.
Okay. And so at that point, you'd been away from the Banfield house for a little over a month, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And so is the torture that you're away from him or the torture that you're in jail?
I would say both.
Okay. Well, I'm not trying to suggest to you what you should say. I want to hear from you. What are you describing?
Well, I think it's always been both.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
I said it was always both.
Okay. So when you're being asked to recall, and I'm giving you a date, what I'm anticipating is that you can say what it is that you were feeling that caused you to write a letter like that. Can you remember what you were feeling that caused you to write that letter?
No, I normally write letters when I was sad, upset.
Okay. Ma'am, do you see a new letter up there on the screen in front of you?
I do.
And it looks as though it's October 15th, 2023. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and is this a
Oh,
letter?
I think it was November.
Oh, I did say October. Sorry, November.
Yes.
And it says, "Hi, Mimi." Can you describe who that is?
It's Brenda's mother.
Okay. And so this is a letter to Brendan's mother, like the second one that I showed you?
Yes.
Okay. And can you just look at this and tell me whether you know that to be your letter that you wrote or not?
It is the letter that I wrote.
It's the letter you wrote? Okay, good. And if you could, I'm going to scroll down and make sure I catch all the highlighted portions. So let me start with the first page there. Can you read the highlighted portion there?
Yes. So what if they don't let me go home for now or so long? What am I supposed to do? I said it before, how disturbing my thoughts have been recently. I'd rather to die than live like this, live with this pain. It's too painful for me.
Okay. And that's obviously very serious language for you to write. What were you experiencing that caused you to write that particular portion of the letter?
Depression.
Okay.
And I just didn't want to live anymore.
Okay. Now, in terms of the procedural posture of your case, had you had a bond motion at that point?
I don't remember exactly the times I've had bond motion, but I did have a few.
So you were arrested, was it October 8th?
October 2023, yes.
Do you remember the day?
October 13th.
The 13th, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine soon thereafter you had a bond motion, correct?
Yes.
And you were denied that bond motion?
Yes.
And did there come a time where you had a bond motion in the circuit court?
Yes.
And when would that have been in relation to November 15th, 2023?
Say it again?
November 15th, 2023.
What about
We'll
it?
get back to that trial out of Fairfax
When will
County,
the circuit
Virginia,
court
in a couple of
appeal
minutes.
of the bond
First,
motion have
you're watching
occurred?
Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. At 10:41, you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Get you back out to Fairfax County, Virginia, with the second day of testimony from the au pair who is accused of helping her former lover, Brendan Banfield, who is accused of killing his wife, Christine, in order to be with the au pair. We continue to listen in on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Getting worse.
It appears to be what?
As the letters go in chronology, they appear to be getting worse in terms of what you're saying about the torture and the pain and things like that.
Yes,
Okay, is that fair to say?
it is.
Okay. Your Honor, the letter before you, I'd identify as Defense Exhibit number 5.
Okay.
Ma'am, do you see that letter?
I do.
And this appears to be dated November 16, 2023, correct?
Correct.
And let me just bring you down, and would that be a letter that you've written?
Yes.
Okay, let me just bring you down to the highlighted portions. This would be a day after the letter that was received that we just talked about, exhibit number 4. Can you read the highlighted portions, please?
Yes, the first one says, I cannot bear living without you. And the second highlighted is, I'm trying to be as strong as I can be.
Okay, and let me just, I'll scroll down for you, so if there's any further. That's the end, okay. And ma'am, is there anything different about what you're talking about here? It's not talking necessarily about pain, but it's talking about bearing, living without, living in the jail without him.
Living in what?
You say, I cannot bear living here without you.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And what's, Was that based on what you were experiencing in the previous letters?
Yes.
Okay, the same thing, or was there something new about this particular letter?
Well, for me, it's the same thing. I guess it's just get confused. I guess messed up with words, how to describe them.
Okay. So it appears that up to this point, and I'm going to try to keep this moving along, everything appears to be kind of going back to the same thing that you've already testified to. So I'm going to show you letters. If something changes as to why you wrote certain things, can you tell me that? I'll ask you the question, but I just want to keep moving along.
Yes.
Okay. And can you read that, which will be marked as Defense Exhibit number 6? Sorry, were you able to read that?
Yes.
Okay, and was that a letter that you had written?
Yes.
And who was that addressed to?
Brendan.
Okay. And can you read the highlighted portion for me?
Yes. It says, during the day, I just feel like crying, sad, depressed, racing thoughts, heart pounding, and I can't sleep. And this is exhausted, physically and emotionally. I feel drained, no strength anymore, no courage, no hope. It feels like a personal hell in life. Painful, torture, disturbing, and I don't want to live or to feel this. Better take my life in trade of the pain. And the next it says it's killing me.
Okay. It sounds like this is getting worse in terms of the things you're saying. Does that the way it sound to you?
It sounds like it, yes.
Okay. How were you? What were you feeling to make you write a letter like this?
I think it's mixed feelings. Like I said again, it was a lot to hold in.
Okay. And was there anything greater or lesser than what you had said about the previous letters?
Well, for me, it sounds basically the same, where I said I just don't want to live to feel this.
Okay. Well, it's not necessarily to interpret the letter that you see now. It's actually what was the feeling that you had when you were writing the letter is what I'm asking.
Well, clearly not good.
Okay.
No good.
And do you remember whether this was before or after you were offered the opportunity for a misdemeanor and to try testify against my client?
Well, in terms of the date, I can't tell.
Okay. Thank you. Ma'am, can you see the letter that's on the screen?
Yes, I can.
And if you'd like to read it and just tell me if that's a letter that you wrote?
Yes, it is.
Is it 7? Is that correct?
I believe, yes, it's 7,
Okay,
Judge.
thank you.
This will be identified as Defense Exhibit 7, but if you could just please read the highlighted portions.
Yes. It says, I don't want to live this. I don't want to keep living, keep going. And the other highlight says, I just want this to be over. In one way or another, good or bad way.
Okay. And this would have been probably, let me see, would have been 3 days after Exhibit 6. Is this more serious, or is it the same as what you were talking about?
It sounds the same to me.
Okay. Did there come a time when you sought help within the jail?
Yes.
Okay, and that's where you got the medication from?
Yes.
And would it be fair to say that these kind of statements weren't in your letters at some point after you'd done the medication?
These letters, what? I'm sorry.
So I'm just trying to understand. You sought help. They provided you medication.
Yes.
And is the medication specifically related to the pain and the torture that you're talking about in these letters?
It was related to all that I was feeling, all the feelings I was carrying with me.
Okay. And did that feeling that you've just described through mid to late November in the last few letters, did that continue on after you took that medication, or did it get better?
It made it better in a way, I guess, that I felt numb.
Okay. Thank you. Let's move on to what would be marked as defense exhibit number 8, I believe, Judge?
All right, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Can you read that, ma'am, just to tell me if that is your letter?
It is my letter.
It is?
Yes.
Okay, and let me just scroll up so you can look at the highlighted portions. It looks like there's just one line highlighted there. What does that say? Was it your understanding at the time that you had the possibility of life in prison?
At the time, yes.
Okay. Based upon the charge that you were charged with?
Yes.
Okay. And who told you that?
My lawyer.
Okay. And let's just talk about that particular area of the letter. Do you remember? So you're talking about something that you didn't do. Are you talking about this case?
Yes.
Okay. And so at that point, you were in jail and you wrote, I didn't do this.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, let's look at the next letter here. If you can tell me if that's a letter you wrote, then we can go right to the highlighted sections, but I don't want to rush you.
It's Exhibit 9, correct?
Exhibit 9, sorry, Judge.
That's fine.
It is a letter I wrote, yeah.
Okay. And can you read the highlighted portion? I think it looks as though there's 2 on the first page. This was dated December 4th, 2023. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what's written on the top. If you could please read the highlighted portion.
Yes, it says, well, they arrested me for the obvious reason, right? But they want me to cooperate against you because according to them, I know more than it's being said, and they say they know more than I think they know.
Okay. And then the lower portion?
It says the only way this, I'm not sure what I said either, but the only way this case is not going to trial if they drop the charge, and we know they won't.
Okay. And that's, do you recall whether or not you've said this statement, the first one, whether you had met with the police or the prosecutors at this point on December 4th?
No, I have not met with them.
So this information comes from when you and your lawyer were talking?
Yes.
Okay. And then you wrote a letter to Brendan about that?
Yes.
Okay, what was the intention of that?
The letter?
Yeah.
To let him know, but it was, I think I always let them, Brendan and his mom know that the Commonwealth was offering me something in exchange of my cooperation, and I always let them know.
Okay, and this just supports that you weren't going to do anything with cooperation?
Yes.
And in the last letter, you said because you didn't do anything?
Right.
Okay. I'm sorry, I think I may have hit the same one. Was that number 8, Judge?
That was number 9.
Number 9, okay.
That is the same one on the screen.
Okay, sorry. Ma'am, can you take a look at this letter and read it, make sure that it's something that you authored, and then we'll look at the highlighted portion.
Is this Exhibit 10?
This would be 10, yes, thank you, Judge.
Yes.
Okay, you ready to move down to that?
Yes.
Okay, can you see it? Can you read that read that highlighted
The
portion?
highlight, yes. It says, do you know why we, parentheses, me, Bina, and many other people, close parentheses, think about suicide? It's when you're facing too much pain, living too much pain, the pain you cannot bear, the pain you want to be able to change or to make any better. I'll tell you this, what I can't bear, a life sitting in prison and causing pain to all of you and my family in Brazil. My life without you guys, Brendan, Valerie, a life where my dreams can't come true.
Okay, let me just check and see if there's any further
Your
highlighted.
Honor, do you mind if I move the microphone
Yes,
so
okay.
she won't have to track it
All
somewhere?
right,
Yeah.
you can do that. That'd be fine. Thank you.
If you move it over here.
Okay, it's
This
better.
one doesn't bend.
She has to be close to it.
Yeah, that way you can lean in and read.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, Your Honor.
All right, everybody, we have to go as we are coming up on 11 o'clock. Charlotte Today is up next, and Nick Sturtevant back here in the Live Impact Studio at 12:30. Have a great morning.